Hi there again. We are going to continue from our previous segment and dive more into the different features of Google Read/Write. For that, let's go back to the page that we were researching, that is the rainforest. So, what I am going to do now, is show you more features. In the previous segment, we looked at the dictionary feature, the picture dictionary, play, pause, and stop. Now we're going to go and look into the various other features that are available. Uh, we're going to talk about the screenshot reader. How does the screenshot reader works is by simply clicking on it and then highlighting the content that has to be read. This feature is very effective if you have those little explorers who are very curious in your class, who would just highlight the whole thing and then it will play, and it will play loudly, and these are the ones who do not even forget to put themselves on the mute or use a headphone. So this is a very good feature where a teacher can highlight the content that has to be read, and even on a distance learning program you can easily highlight it by once the screen is shared, or you're sharing the screen by highlighting it, or if the student is sharing the screen, then you can ask for the remote control access and easily, super easily, just highlight what is to be read for the student. We always have those ones in our classrooms, I'm sure. So once I've done it, I have highlighted the content that has to be read. It tends to load and tends to get ready for reading it to you. Let's give it a few seconds.
AM is an area of tall, mostly evergreen trees and a high amount of rainfall. Rainforests are Earth's.
As you can see, I can over here also easily play, unpause, or stop. You can stop it by clicking on the stop option or by simply clicking on the cross that is there. And then it's done. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to talk about another feature that is there uh, of Google Read/Write. That is the web search. It's a very good feature, and for instance, if you have reading and the child is like, oh, what is ecosystem, and they're like, miss, what is ecosystem, they come up to you. So just to inculcate certain independence in higher grade students, what this child could do is simply highlight the word and click on the web search icon, and there you go, boom, they can see exactly what ecosystem is. And then if they have struggle, they can come to you and then you can explain it to them again, but they have taken that first step or the initial step to figure out what exactly the ecosystems are. uh, Going back to the page, the next thing that I am going to talk about is the screen mask. Another very beautiful feature, and very 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 effective, and for our kids who have dyslexia, and even for those kids who have occupational therapy needs and they are on therapy for visual motor coordination. This just makes visual tracking so much more easier, and especially when we transition from face-to-face learning to distance learning, irrespective of whether the child was on learning support or not, this feature was very helpful for them. Reason being, it was easy for them to visually track it. If you are face to face and if you're reading, if you have a book in your hand, you can easily hold up the book and point out your finger and read it and visually trace it, track it, and makes reading a less tedious. But when you're reading online, or it's really difficult to hold your device in your hand and do it or visually track it. So this is one of a very good feature which has made life so much more easier for our kids with dyslexia, and even kids who do not have it, who are the neurotypicals, and but they also did struggle during the transition from face to face to online, because there was too much of content that they were reading on the screen, and the screen was big, which cannot be lifted until and unless they were using an iPad. I get it, it's easier, but constantly just tracing it, you leave those fingerprints, and then it becomes really messy for the child to read, and it just makes reading way too complicated than what it actually is. Reading is supposed to be fun, and this feature definitely looks at doing that. And how do you get rid of the screen mask is by simply clicking on it again. And there you go, it's gone. The next feature that I'm going to talk about is a translator. What does the translator does? This feature is very, very helpful for students who, if you have ESL, that is English as a second language learner, or an EAL student, that is English as an additional language learner. Based on the school, what acronym is used, both mean the same thing. Uh, this is very good tool for those students who are not English learners, or English is not their primary language. And in our school, we constantly have kids coming from different regions of Southeast Asia. And we have a lot of ESL learners. So for them, we tend to use this a lot. For instance, what you could do is simply highlight the word like, say, tree, and then you click on the translator. It will tell you what tree means. And the language that pops up on your translator is a language that you have selected in your settings. We will talk about the settings a little later. I'll show you how you go around it and set it. About, like I said in the previous video, you can change the accent, the pace at which it is read, whether you want the male voice or female voice. You can do that. And as a teacher, what I do is, I know the student, so I will go into the setting and already set it up for the child before I introduce Google Read Write to him or her. Because if you show that to them, they're going to go down the rabbit hole and will make, yeah, it's going to be a noisy Zoom session or in the classroom where you will hear different accents out loud if they're not using their headphones. So, yeah, this is another feature of Google Read Write. I love this tool, and I use it for my third and fourth grade. And in our school, rather, it's even made available to the high schoolers. It's really, really helpful. There are a lot more features to Google Read Write and just the read part of it. So I am going to show that to you in the next segment. I hope you're enjoying this, learning how to use Google Read Write. Like I said, pace yourself up. It's always good to pause, rewatch it, and then try doing it by yourself.